I'm Dean. I'm the dad.
I'm Laura. I'm the mom.
And I'm Crystal, and I'm the daughter.
And together we are Family Plot. Well, that was very nice. So how is everyone? Another week has gone by.
Well, it's kind of stressful, but you know.
Well, here we are, episode 51. Do you remember what we're talking about, Krysta?
Something about St. Louis?
Lemp Mansion in St. Louis. Yes, it's another one of our local shows. We're going to be focusing on Lemp Mansion, and we'll talk more about that here in a minute. Do want to do some housekeeping, get some stuff out of the way. Remember, next week is episode 52. So that's our 1-year anniversary. So if you've got a listener story you'd like to share to throw on that episode, why, feel free to reach out to us. We're always happy to include stories from our listeners. Also, now, Gina Harris, the gal who gave us the story for last week, the one that was so sweet. Well, I got an email from her, and she was very touched by how we rendered her tale. And she also wanted to let me know that she will be starting her own podcast as we get a little closer to Labor Day, most likely.
Well, that's nice.
So, yeah, and I offered to do a little promotion for her once it gets a little closer. And so just kind of our way of saying thanks for providing us with such a neat story.
Absolutely.
Also, we got our show in Parkville coming up. Don't have a date on it yet. We're still hammering that out, but we will be doing a live show in Parkville sometime soon. I don't know if we'll use an old show and just sort of redo it for a live audience, or whether we'll do something brand spanking new, but we'll do something. So, that out of the way, let's talk the Lemp Mansion. In 1838, Johann Adam Lemp built a small grocery store at what is now Delmar and 6th Street in St. Louis. Among the items he sold was his homemade beer. Now, that was based off of his father's recipe. It was a light golden lager, so it was very popular with the locals because, at the time, most of the beers were dark and heavy, and this was a lighter. It's what we think of as beer today.
It's like a lighter alternative to what they had.
Right. But it was so popular, eventually he just gave up the grocery store and opened a small brewery near where the Gateway Arch stands today, just 2 years later. From here, his empire grew, and his Falstaff beer became hugely popular and profitable. With the proceeds, he purchased a home built by his father-in-law, Joseph Feckert, near his brewery, which became the Lemp Mansion. Home to several generations of Lemps and the site of much loss, the building is among the most haunted places in the world. And that's the story we're going to talk about today. A lot has happened, and I apologize for any triggering our telling the story does. And because the story does contain a lot of suicide, I do want to preface all of this by saying, if you have a problem and you are thinking of taking your life, remember that is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Yes.
And that you can reach out to any one of us or several organizations, or there's multiple podcasts that make it a point to reach out and say, if you have a problem, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah, so here's my thing about quote-unquote suicidal people. My problem, you don't have to do a permanent thing to take away a temporary, way that you feel. Here's my thing about this. if you are being yourself and you don't feel like that is right for you and you just don't feel confident enough to be on the flat surface of this earth, which is not actually flat, but it's not worth it. You will find your person and you will be able to talk to people, and people do love you, including the family plot family. So yeah.
Yes.
So, that's the story we're gonna tell, but before we get into it and all the details and the coolness and the stuff and the things and the things and the stuff and the other things, I think
I smelled smoke.
Yeah, really, that's good. That's good. I like that. I was gonna say, I think we should talk to Krysta about some weird facts, which, as I gather this week, are about the city of St. Louis.
You're not supposed to announce what the weird facts are on. That's our job.
I'm sorry. I thought I'd switch it up a bit.
Okay.
It's okay. I didn't exactly write it on my paper for my speech, so. All right.
So, yes, what do we need? We need... And then our Krysta can say whatever she wants.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we're ready to go?
You're ready to go.
Okay. Sorry. Okay,
that's why we're all looking at you expectantly, waiting for you to say something cool.
Welcome to FWF, 5 Weird Facts.
Yay!
Today's information comes from Only in Your State, online, by Sherry Runge. I think that's her name. Make sure to go check it out, because this is not my original work. This is hers. And keep in mind that there are more than 5... This is +1 edition today, so there is 6 facts today. There are more than 6 facts in the actual article, so if you want to go check those out yourself, you can do that. Number 1. Pork steaks were invented in St. Louis.
Wow.
And while I was searching this up, apparently people outside of Missouri don't even know what those are. So.
What was invented in...
Pork steaks, the cutted meat pork steaks.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it says, and some places outside of Missouri apparently don't even have pork steaks.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Number 2. Peanut butter was invented in St. Louis by George Carver.
George Washington Carver, even.
Yep, that is true. So far, we've started with pork and peanut butter. I'm liking this episode.
Yeah.
Number 3. The first kindergarten in the United States was invented by Susan Blow in St. Louis.
Wow, that's fancy too.
And they can have pork and peanut butter. I'm telling you, those are lucky kids.
Number 4. St. Louis has more free major visitor attractions than any place outside of the nation's capital.
That's pretty cool too.
So if you were going to go anywhere to see some major attractions, you would most likely want to be at St. Louis. If you wanted things for free. If you wanted to go a little bit more pricey, I would recommend Tokyo. Sorry. Just my opinion. Number 5. The ice cream cone was made when an ice cream vendor ran out of cups and asked a waffle maker to make a waffle wrapped up. So, yep, that was... Alright, you guys ready for the +1?
I'm ready for the +1.
Sure, let's hear it.
Iced tea was invented by Richard. I don't even know how to say this name, so I'm sorry if I butcher it. Richard Bleachin?
Spell it, baby.
Blechyden. Bleshton, maybe.
Yeah. Because I want to go like Bleckheiden or something.
Well, and that very well may be also. I'm not sure. So, if you know how to pronounce that name, feel free to reach out to us and give us a phonetic.
I'm going to go with Bleckheiden because why not? Served tea with ice in it. And this is at the same place that the people...
That was a pretty awesome place, too. A lot of cool things happened there.
So what I'm gathering, what I've gathered through my facts today, are apparently St. Louis has made a lot or invented a lot of things that we know of today.
Happening place.
St. Louis is still a pretty happening city. I wouldn't mind like taking the family there for a weekend, just, check out the St. Louis Arch, or what they call the Gateway Arch now, and a few other, cool places.
Zoo, I think, is a really cool zoo and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Yep. In fact, the SCA runs an event out there called Drunken Mammoth. And when I was younger, it was one of my favorite SCA events.
All right.
I see.
So I'm going to ask a few questions of you today, just to make this a little bit longer.
Okay.
What have you guys gathered from this? Mom, I want to start with you.
Oh, what have I gathered from the St. Louis facts?
Yes.
That St. Louis has good food.
What about you, Dad?
It just reminds me how fun a place St. Louis is, and I forget about it a lot because it's just 4 hours down the highway. And so, it just reminds me what a cool place St. Louis is and how I need to take my family there so that we can experience a day of history and fun.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to FWF.
Krysta's so awesome. So let's talk about the Lemp family, because you can't talk about the Lemp Mansion without talking about the family that built it. Now, you got to begin with Johann Lemp, whom everybody called Adam. I don't think it was his actual name, because most places I see it written, it's Johann Adam Lemp, and Adam is in quotation marks. So usually that's a sign that's a nickname. And I don't know, maybe it's because he spoke German, or I don't know. But he arrived in St. Louis from Eschwege, Germany, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. So if we have any Germans that are listening, please cue me in on the pronunciation. My own last name is Boese. That's pronounced Bose, but I've heard back in the old country it's pronounced Berza. So
Berza?
Yeah. So anyway, he came to St. Louis from Germany in 1838. He built a small grocery store that sold homemade beer, his father's recipe. Eventually, the beer became his business, and it made him wealthy. It actually became a brand called Falstaff, which has fallen off today, but when I was younger, it was as recognizable a name as Pabst Blue Ribbon or Coors. Mm-hmm. So, Lemp originally sold his beer in a pub that was attached to the brewery. This was the first lager that was actually made or sold in St. Louis. Lemp realized the brewery was too small to handle both production and storage, so he moved storage to a limestone cave south of the city. In present day, it's the corner of Cherokee and Demental Place. Now, caves are naturally cool environments, but it could be made cooler because
that people with more money had more often
than the poor.
To keep things cooler, they used like cellars and stuff, so it was underground.
And eventually, and I'm not exactly sure on the timeline of this, they had something called ice boxes, which freezers and stuff tend to get still called by some people today, that's in the ice box. But an ice box was actually just